enforce our laws. Let me ask this panel, who here thinks that zero tolerance has been a success? You can just raise your hand if you think it's been a success. Who thinks that the family separation policy has been a success? Raise your hand. Who here can tell me who is responsible? Which public official, which member of this administration is responsible for zero tolerance and family separation? Can anyone tell me? Who's responsible? Nobody knows?
The zero tolerance prosecution policy, the memorandum, was issued by the Attorney General on April 6, 2018.
So the official responsible for zero tolerance is the Attorney General of the United States, acting presumably with the approval of the President of the United States, correct?
He is the one who issued the memorandum on April 6, 2018. It's an extension of an earlier memorandum he issued in 2017.
Did any member of this panel say to anyone, maybe this isn't such a good idea? Commander?
During the deliberative process over the previous year, we raised a number of concerns in the ORR program about any policy which would result in family separation due to concerns we had about the best interest of the child, as well as about whether that would be operationally supportable with the bed capacity we have.
Now, I'm going to translate that into what I would call layman's language. You told the administration that kids would suffer as a result, that pain would be inflicted, correct?
Separation of children from their parents entails significant risk of harm to children.
Well, it's traumatic for any child separated from his or her parents. Am I correct? I say that as a parent of 4 children.
There's no question that separation of children from parents entails significant potential for traumatic psychological injury to the child.
And would I be correct in assuming that the answer to you was, in effect, that's the whole purpose of the policy, to inflict pain so as to deter asylum seekers from coming here, correct?
No, sir, we were advised that family separation was not the policy.
Family separation just happened to result from zero tolerance without anybody knowing in advance, even though you raised the concern, correct?
Yes, we raised concerns about the effect on children as well as the effect on the program.
And what was the answer?
At no time during the time that I was in ORR was there an actual policy announcement of family separation. It was merely a discussion of possible future consequences.
So there was awareness that it would be the consequence, correct? You raised it.
I did raise it.
And I'm asking again, what was the answer?
The answer I received is that family separation was not a policy. That there was no policy that was going to result in family separation.
It would be a consequence of the policy, but
correct.
Not the policy.
No, that I was advised that there was no policy which would result in separation of children from family units.
Are you satisfied with the amount of care and counseling that is being provided to these children to deal with the trauma and the pain of their separation from their parents?
Yes. The children in ORR care each have a mental health clinician.
Well, I know they each have a mental health clinician. Are you satisfied that they are receiving sufficient care? Or do you believe that maybe those clinicians are overworked, overburdened, that there should be more of them?
I believe the children are receiving sufficient care.
Let me ask whether anyone here has authority to end the appeal of Judge G's decision that the Florists settlement should be continued. Does anyone here have that authority?
The Department of Justice makes the litigation decisions. I personally wouldn't have that authority, but the department would.
And can you commit to me that there will be reconsideration of the department's decision that Flores should be sustained?
As I indicated in response to a prior question, the department is considering its options in light of the most recent ruling.
What are the number of children under 5 who have been reunified?
Sir, I don't have that number with me. I'm sorry.
Is it less than the full number of 102, I think it was, that were separated?
Yes, sir. Some minors were not eligible for reunification. They couldn't safely be reunified.
Do you know the number?
I don't know the number, although I'm sure we have it to provide.
And of those 431 total, how many eventually of them do you expect will be reunified?
You're referring to the total of the minors whose parents have been removed from the United States?
Correct. Is there any prospect that they will be reunified? And what number?
There's no way that I could say what number it will be because it hasn't happened yet. We are working on strategies to effect reunifications for all of the eligible ones. A number of parents may elect that their children remain in the United States.
When parents are put in detention facilities, are they permitted to retain their telephones, their cell phones?
Not at the facility itself, no.
How do children reach their parents?
I can speak to our capabilities at the detention facilities. Commander White spoke with very well about the process they utilize. Our individuals are allowed phone calls during the course of their detention. We have a contractor that provides low cost, if not free calls. Once an individual is booked in, they always get a free 5-minute call domestically or internationally. We have worked very closely with Commander White's people during the course of this process to ensure that communication occurs on a routine and regular basis. They've surged resources to our facilities to help facilitate that communication.
I'm going to finish because my time has expired. I just want to say that there is now total consensus on both sides of the aisle that this zero tolerance and family separation policy, and it has been a policy, as you indicated, Commander, it was clearly foreseeable as a consequence of zero tolerance. It was part and parcel of the policy to inflict pain so as to deter asylum seekers from coming to this country. Now we have it at the highest level because General Kelly himself and other top officials indicated that deterrence was an objective. And it constitutes, as I have said, kidnapping or child abuse. And ultimately, I hope that there's a lesson here. But right now, there seems to be no prospect for reunifying many of the children who are still separated from their parents. And I welcome any response, either now or in writing, depending on whether the chairman will
do it in writing. Senator Harris.